talking. So we will be recording the session, just to let you know. If you don't want to be recorded, then please do keep your cameras off, and because it will be going on our YouTube channel. But welcome. So thanks for joining us today for our Black Women in Care Empowerment series. We are so happy for you to come and join us today. I know that it's hot, everybody's been busy, and I know you've had a busy day. It's a wonderful session, and Olayinka has put together a wonderful session again for us this evening. We have some very amazing speakers today, and so I'm honoured to have them here. I'd just like to ask everybody while the presenters are speaking to mute yourselves, just because we don't want to cause any disruption or have any background noises. There will be a time at the end for some Q&A, but please do make use of the chat box while our presenters are talking. And I will keep a track of any questions that are in the chat box, and we can I can answer them later, or I will call out your name. And if you are brave enough to turn your camera on, you are more than welcome to ask the question to the presenters yourself. So welcome again, and I'm going to pass over to our founder, Olayinka Thomas, to start the meeting off.
Recording in progress.
Thank you very much. I'm just trying to secure myself to ensure that I'm not logged out by any means at all. So good evening, everyone. I hope that everyone has had a lovely day. Today has been such a lovely weather this week. If you're in London, if you're United Kingdom, it's been such a lovely weather, United Kingdom. And people that are joining us from Nigeria, I'd like to know, Lash, I hope the weather is also lovely there. It's always been lovely. No, it's not. So it's not. Okay. I don't know about that. You know, sometimes we run away from United Kingdom and then we go outside the country to Spain, for example, to enjoy the sunshine there. So we're not complaining. We're not complaining. We're not complaining at all. We're enjoying it. Yeah. We're enjoying the lovely weather. So good evening, everyone. I'm going to share my slide whilst we're waiting for our speakers to start. I'm going to share my slides with you because tonight it is all about career ladder and career development. And I know that each one of us on this platform today, we have, you know, we are in one career or the other at this time. So it doesn't matter where we are at this time. It doesn't matter what we're doing at this time. We can all grow for where we are. So my name is Olayinka Thomas. By the special grace of God, I am the founder of Black Women in Care. And this event, even though Charlotte said has been put together by Olayinka, I believe that it's been a collective work between Charlotte and I. So we've been able to put this event together on a very short notice. So we're a very good team. And so yes, we've been able to put this event together today. It is Black Women in Care Empowerment series. So we have different speakers that comes in to talk about career development, business development, how we can grow personally in our personal lives, and also personal development as well. But tonight is about career ladder versus career lattice. So anyone ever hear the word? I know I have a very short time, so I'm trying to utilize as much as I can. But have you ever heard the word lattice before? Have you heard the word lattice? Have you heard that word before? If you can type in the chat for me, just want to see, or you can unmute yourself. Have you heard that word, career ladder or career lattice? Have you ever heard that word before? I'm looking into the chat. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you for the meaning. Career ladder, yes. Career ladder, yes. Not lattice. Okay. So for some of us, it is a strange word. For some of us, it is a strange word. So if you can see my screen, you will see that the ladder is sort of straightforward. It is going up. It is very straightforward, and you see the lattice that can be vertical, it can be horizontal, it can be so it has different shapes and sizes. So we'll be understanding the meaning of that lattice today. But if we go, lattice is, you know, so sometimes it can be physics as well, and the fixes they define it as a three-dimensional three-dimensional arrangement of atoms, ions, molecules. So there are three-dimensional, so you bring in different skills together. So if I come into the business management side, I would say bringing different skills together to achieve probably a purpose or what you want to achieve. So that's just a brief introduction to what career ladder is. So wherever you might be in your career right now, whether you are at the start of your career or you're working your way up towards a senior position, it is very essential for you to have an end goal in mind. And that's why we have a fantastic speakers, all expertise in their own area, and they have a lot of experience they want to share with us, how they've been able to attain this position that they are in life. So it's very essential for you as well to have an end goal in mind. However, it's also sensible to work out a basic understanding of how to get there. Many of us, we have dreams. I want to become this, I want to do that in 10 years. But do we have a basic understanding of how can we actually get there? What we need to do to achieve that aim? Like I said, it doesn't matter where you are right now. We can all work towards that goal. So there are two types of main career paths. So we have the vertical ladder and we have the modern lattice. They call it modern because it's very new. We see a lot of people, as a matter of fact, research has shown that a lot of people are moving, of over 80% of people, they actually prefer the lattice career path because it offers more flexibility for them. Modern one is where you acquire value by gaining skills and experiences in a lot of different positions. So you see that flexibility there, that you can, even though you might be working within health and social care, you can choose to work in a care home, you can choose to work in hospital, NHS. So that's you gaining different skills, you're acquiring different skills from even though it's within health and social care, but a different area, different sector, or different department within the health and social care. So how do you know which mode of mobility is suitable? In 5 minutes. Oh, 5 minutes. So I hope you have your pen and paper ready, or you can take a screenshot of my slides, or also we can also send you the recordings afterwards. So career ladder, talking about the definitions, the three types of career ladder, the benefits, and also the eligibility. So there are three types of career ladder. So when we mention that there are three types of it. So what do we mean by career ladder? It is a progressive, as you can see the ladder going up, it is a progressively higher position. So it can be attained by you, whatever you might be working at this time. And once you have that, you work towards a greater responsibility. So at your workplace, you'll be given greater responsibility and also obviously financial sources as well. So the more responsibility you have, financial sources also will come in, and that's where we have for example, the three types. We have the predefined career ladder. So the predefined one, they are designed with when you have identified classification series. So for example, if you're starting a role in a care role, for example, they will say, okay, you can start as a care assistant, moving to a senior care assistant, moving to a coordinator. So it is predefined before you go. So there are some jobs description that you also find online. They will say this career will lead to this career at the end of the day. This specific job will lead to that job opportunities in the future, in 2 years, in 3 years. So there are that's when you see, for example, I have here a staff nurse moving to a nurse manager, moving to a chief of nursing, and also CNO, director of nursing, and a chief nursing officer as well. So we have a director of nursing that will be speaking tonight. So we'll be able to hear from our stories as well. So CNO as well, the chief nursing. So we have this thing is predefined for us. And we also have the individualized, oh, my screen. They call it individualized vertical career ladder. So with these are designed with this type of ladder, these are designed for you to allow an employee, so if you're working with anyone, to bridge into a higher position in a different classifications. So it is your individualized. So even though they might say, okay, you move from a position of a carer to a senior carer, but you can see, actually, I don't want to become a senior carer. What other positions can I do? What other things can I do? Okay, I don't want to become a care coordinator. Can I, work towards nursing instead? So you are the one individualized. If you're working within health and social care, they call it personalized. Personalized. I hope everyone can hear me. I hope everyone can hear me clearly. Please, if you can you give me a thumbs up, please? If you can hear me clearly, I hope my line is not breaking up. Yes, you can, Ramat. Okay, brilliant. You can. Okay, and the other one is the in-range career ladder. With this one, it is where, okay, Choma also can hear. Brilliant, brilliant. I'm glad you can hear. So with this one, is not available or appropriate to circumstances of an employee. Sometimes you might need to undertake a program in order to advance in a responsibility classification. So what does that mean is that you need to discuss with, for example, HR, your department, to determine the progression that is available, the progression that is appropriate, or to sometimes is for a specific organization needs. So organization, you can start in a position, like today I was speaking to someone, and you can start in a position and I'm like, oh, actually we need someone to head this department. And they will look at your skills. So that's where the HR comes in. They will look at your skills that you've already exhibited. This type of skills, will believe these skills will be, will be beneficiary for that department. So that's an in-range career ladder. So it depends on the needs of that organization. It depends on the needs of that organization at that time. So that's what they call the in-range career ladder. And the benefits, so it is, these are some of the benefits. You are able to develop new skills and competency at your own pace. So even each of these types of career ladder, it is still at your own pace. It can be predefined, it can be individualized, it can be in range. You work at your own pace, and you can advance to a higher level of responsibility without competition, without moving to a different work unit. So that is why the career ladder is good. So you don't have to move to a different unit with this type of career ladder. And also you can demonstrate initiative and willingness to work to further department and university goals. So if you're in a university, if you're working in any department, you can demonstrate your initiative. And that's why the in-range comes in, because the in-range will look at your skills. They will look at your position that you're held. They will look at your annual appraisers. What your annual appraiser is being like. And how can you be eligible? You must be in a full-time or part-time work. So you don't say that, oh, I'm only working part-time. How do I grow? So you can be in a part-time work and you're still growing. Working in a part-time role, also obviously you look at your probation as well at work, and obviously you cannot be underperforming, because if you are underperforming at work, there's every tendency that they will not put you in for higher roles, higher responsibility. Okay, so that is the benefits and also the eligibility. So the other one, as you can see the photo on my screen, the picture on my screen, it shows what a career lattice is. So you're moving from one department to the other. And most leaders, actually, they do this a lot. So for example, you can be a leader, a manager in a retail store, and then you use that leadership skills to work in a care home or in another department in a construction company. So they move from one place to the other. So it is a career progression that allows for a vertical. It can be vertical, it can be horizontal, it can be diagonal, and it enables you to use your skills and experience in variety of ways. We've seen people that move in from a retail store and they start a career in health and social care, even at the management level, because they already have the management skills. They might need to do some courses, they might need to attend some, to have some qualifications, but their leadership skills will enable them to navigate that role. And there is a demand for this kind of flexibility. And there is a survey that found out that 90% of workers, they will consider a cross-departmental move even without any financial incentives. That sometimes we get tired of the department that we are in, that we just want to go, we just want to try another department to see how it is. And because our skills, like leadership skills, are transferable, and we can easily navigate through those departments. That is the career lattice. So you're moving vertically, horizontally, or diagonally movement that will enable you to use your skills very well. So what are the benefits of this? It improves productivity. Research has shown that when you move when you go through the career lattice, it improves your productivity because you're able to absorb a lot of skills, a lot of knowledge from other departments, and you have a customized work structures as well. It increases engagement because imagine if you're working in different departments, maybe in care homes or hospitals, you're working with MOD, Ministry of Defense, for example. So it increases your engagement because you've been able to speak to different leaders, hearing from different perspectives. So you can increase your engagement. And also it fosters participation in any department that you can be. Okay, there's a benefit of career lattice. So how can you be eligible? Also, you have to be in a full-time role or part-time role, and you're obviously not currently underperforming. And the other thing about lattice is that you can easily move to another organization even though you are underperforming in a certain department. So that also helps. So if you might be underperforming in a role, and then maybe it might be the sector that you're working in, and you can easily move to another sector. Okay, and the pros and cons of this, with career ladder, there is a career specialism. So you can say, I want to become a nurse, and then you work your way up from a nurse, registered nurse to a chief nurse, registered nurse to a nurse manager to a chief nurse, all the way up. And also there's career exploration as well. You can easily explore within the careers that you have within the same department. You can choose to be, senior care worker, coordinator, registered manager. You can easily explore different types of roles within them. And the career lattice, you gain exposure. You gain exposure because you are seeing not a lot of people. You're visiting a lot of people. You're seeing a lot of different leaders. You are seeing different colleagues, and then you are able to hear from their own perspective to see how they are doing things within the organization. And also there's career exploration as well. When you have the design, they will show you how to get there. So you can easily, once you have the design in your head, what you want to do, that you can show you on how to get there. And the cons there with career lattice is it might take longer because you're moving from one place to the other, or from one department to the other. And that is the only cons there. With career lattice, it might take longer. And the other one with the cons with career ladder is there isn't too much exposure because you're working within the same department, within the same organization. So the exposure is somewhat limited. That is the only pros. And some people, they don't really care about the exposure anyways, but that is the only cons under the career ladder. So how can you choose to do what we call a career mapping? And I believe some of the speakers will be mentioning this, or how they've been able to navigate through that journey this years. So the career mapping will help you to think strategically about where you want to go in your company. So where you might be working at this time, or what you might be doing, is important for you to have a career mapping on how you can meet your career goals within the organization. Sometimes you might need to move from, you might need to move organization, you might need to go to work in different departments, but you need to have a career mapping in mind. Instead of potentially seeking out another company to move ahead, you can also work with the company that you have at this time. So how can you do this? Using self-assessment. Some of the self-assessments, some employers will help you, maybe doing your supervision or your annual appraisal. They can carry a self-assessment, but I would encourage you to have your own personal care assessment. I'll carry out a care assessment of yourself. Look at your SWOT. I look at, as an individual, you need to also have your SWOT. So the SWOT is a strength. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your opportunities around you and your threats? So threats, lack of resources. So look at that. It could be discrimination. That's another threat as well. So look at that. Carry out your own self-assessment, which is SWOT, strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So individualized career map. So have your own individual career map. Like I said, it is not a competition. You're not competing with anyone. This is your own journey. So have your own individualized career map. You can join the two together with a self-assessment. So once you understand your strength, what can I do with my strength? What are the roles I can, what are the more responsibility that I can take up with this, my strength? And then explore more opportunities. Look at opportunities out there. Go to Indeed.com. Black Women in Care also have the job portals that we're encouraging everyone to post the jobs on. Look at Black Women in Care platform. Look at Indeed. Look at Read. So there are lots of organizations that do have jobs there, these opportunities, on how you can actually grow with this. So you have to have a career mapping. So that will enable you to choose whether you need a career ladder or you need a career lattice. Okay. And the conclusion, one thing is certain, you want a clear path forward at every point that you might be. So career ladder or lattice are the two most popular modes of mobility, but the latter seems likely to overtake in terms of popularity. So focus on your personal goal to decide which is best for you. Alternatively, you could combine both approaches. So both career ladder and also lattice can actually be combined. So you can combine both approaches, building up your skill set while moving up through the ranks. So you can build up your skill set by working in different departments so that you can move up through the ranks. So for more career development information, you can register for a free account on our website www.blackwomenicare.com or email us at info@blackwomenicare.com. So thank you very much. I know my time has been far well spent, so thank you very much for listening. So there'll be time for question and answer afterwards. Okay. So thank you everyone for joining in. I'm trying to see if our speaker is here.
I don't think she's joined yet, Olivia. Ivana, you were
Okay.
here on the platform?
Okay, so I'll hand over to you now, Charlotte.
Okay, so we're going to change the schedule around, sorry, Tinola, because our first speaker isn't here, but we have our second speaker, who is we're honored to have here today, who's joining us all the way from Nigeria. And apparently we have better weather here today than Nigeria, which is fantastic. It's very, very warm here today. So welcome Tinola Nkechi Olaya. You're going to tell me how to say it.
Olaya.
Olaya. She's a very, very, very good friend of mine. And I'm really, really honored for her to be here today. She's a teacher. She is qualified in an autism services practitioner. She's supervised certified by the Qualified Behavior Analysis Credentialing Board. And she has an International Behavior Analysis certification from the International Behavior Analysis Organization. She also has a degree in early childhood education, a degree in psychology, and a master's in education management. Fantastic. Her experiences spans 2 decades of providing academic support to neurodiverse children in the school, center, and home environments, which I know she is very passionate about. She is a program director at Assure Educational, where she provides functional, adaptive skills and language assessments for children with autism and other neurodevelopmental disorders, as well as overseeing the provision of quality-centered based, home and school-based applied behavior analysis, also known as ABA. This involves her, she develops and executes ABA-based parent and teacher training workshops. That I think I've gone on to, I've missed a bit, where ABA in Nigeria is the gold standard, and it's a little bit different here, but it's really exciting to hear about it. She works with children from the age of 2 years up to 10, and she provides ABA to them within the school and centres, and also with the home-based program. It's not limited to natural environments teaching or incidental teaching, and it's a discrete trial teaching. So she also has got her ABA from a prestigious international centre for applied behaviour analysis, and she is under the supervision of Dr. Edward Eshika. Tinola is a treasurer of the Association of Behaviour Analysis in Nigeria. Welcome and thank you, and I'm going to pass over to you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. Charlotte, thank you so much. I'm grateful. Thank you, Lainka. I'm grateful. I would like to say to you, just off the top of my head, that Olayinka has saved you guys from my very minimal slide on Lattice and career. So you guys are so lucky. Anyway, it's been, I would like to apologize. You may get a bit of noise here now and again. I live right by the roadside, and now and again there will be a hoot of a horn or something. Yeah, so I apologize in advance for that. It's interesting. I mean, up until, of course, I've heard about the ladder and the Lattice career path, but I would just, as I talk about my career or how I have come to where I am today, I'll try and, tie it up together, because for me, I think that, the way work is seen now has changed in so many ways, like what we think work is and what we think career is and how it relates to, now when we make career decisions, it's not just about a job anymore. It is about your lifestyle. It is about family. It is about where you're going to live even. It is about commute. So it's a lot of things. So it's not just about a job. So a career are the different roles, just the different things that you do, that you would do, all through your life, really. And it's not just about the things you're paid for. It's also some of the things that you are not paid for, like your contributions in the community, for example. For instance, my being the treasurer of the Association of Applied Behavior Analysis, nobody's paying me for that. That is part of what you call your career, just all of the roles and responsibilities that you would hold all through your lifetime. And it's a lifelong thing, and it does evolve. It's not in any way stagnant, because as people, we grow every day. Your experiences, who I was like 10 years ago is different from who I am today. The line of work is kind of the same, but it has changed, in different ways, So hey, Charlotte, okay. All right, so I'm just going to talk, have a talk through how I came to be where I am, and to say that, just like Olayinka said, that some of these things like interface, like the ladder career path and the Lattice career path, actually. So for me, I think it depends on the kind of profession that you're in. For example, if you're in the medical line, there definitely is a ladder that you're going to have to climb, You're going to go from one level of responsibility to the next, yes? Whatever experiences that you get in other areas, you're going to make work for you so you can actually climb that ladder. So I think, first of all, is in recognizing where you are, what sort of profession that you are in. I will say that you should first and foremost, because I think that is one of the things that we don't do as women. We don't put enough thought into the different stages or the different things that we're doing. And it is not entirely our fault. There's so many things we're doing so many things at the same time. But I would like to encourage you as women to be more deliberate, to look at where you are, to look at the environment where you are. If it's a work environment, like a structured work environment. For instance, my own work environment is not structured, being that I run my own business. It is my own business. There is a structure to it, if you get what I mean. But I'm not kind of like so you see now what I mean. I'm climbing a ladder in my being a behavior analyst. There is a ladder, because it is a strata profession. You enter as a technician, and then you go to mid-tier, and then you go to the you go to the master's level, and then you do the PhD. So there is a ladder to climb there. But at the same time, there are other experiences, that enrich you as a person, that help you perform better, even as you climb those ladders. So, as I was saying, the most important thing, or the first thing that we should do, is recognize your environment. Take a bit of time to recognize if you're working in an organization, understand the organization, understand how it works, because it is a system. It's like a human being. Understand how it works. Understand like Olayinka said, the different opportunities that are available to you, and find out how you would get to those places. But in doing that now, you know, as I said, in doing that now, a lot of things, because of COVID, of course, we need to, we think about a lot of other things. Lots of people left really good paying jobs, you know, to stay at home because, you know what, I'm tired, I don't want to do it again. So in considering, in looking at the opportunities that are available in your organization, you must also, of course, take into consideration your lifestyle, you know, family, and all of those, you know, areas. So I kind of begin by, okay, Charlotte, I think I can share my slide. Yeah, let me see, so that I can, oh, sorry. So I just want to have a look at what Charlotte, I just want to look at that slide that talks about what a career is really, you know, like what is a career? I'm sorry, but I'm used to doing this because of and when I say doing this, the this I'm talking about is I'm used to, what's that word now?
Delivering?
No. I'm used to checking for language. I'm used to, you know, breaking down language because in my line of work and because English is second language for a lot of people, I've come to realize that you need to check for understanding for even the very basic things that you say. So according to Okon, career is a sequence of roles or positions, including work, as I was saying, leisure, your educational pursuits, you know, and it may encompass a number of occupations, vocations, or positions that you occupy all through your life, you know. So career can also be defined as an individual work-related and other relevant experiences, both inside and outside of an organization. So when we talk about your career, it's not just strictly about, you know, the organization. It also has to do with the things that, you know, that happen outside of your 9 to 5. Yes, that also is part of your career. And because of that, we can look at a career subjectively and objectively. Like Olayinka was saying, you know, there's a ladder to decline. You've got remunerations, you've got positions and status, you know, such as to occupy and to attain to, you know, but at the same time, you would also have to look at things that matter to you, like your job fulfillment. Are you happy doing what you're doing? What do you get out of it? Where are you going to? How does it fit into your family time or your commute, you know, etc.? Because I remember that the first job that I took was as a salesperson, actually. I mean, I just left school with a BSc in chemistry, and you know, I didn't know what I was doing, really. Let me just put it like that. I just wanted a job. I wanted to earn money, which is where some people may find themselves now, maybe. So I took on the job, you know, and one of the things I learned on that job was that professionalism is important, because as a salesperson, as a young girl, I had to go out every day to, you know, to market the services, and it was services that we were selling. We were training frontline staff, you know, so I had to market the services to companies. And you know how it is, you're working into establishments, you're talking to men who see you walking as a young person, and maybe the first thing on their mind is not, you know, that what you want to talk to them about. But I found out in the line of that work that being professional and actually knowing what it was that I was doing, and which is one of the things that Olayinka talked about, you know, getting as much as you're going to get in as much knowledge as you can, you know, like arming yourself to be worthy of what you are seeking, you know. So in that job, I found that the professionalism was important. Another thing I took away from that job also was that no matter what is going on in a work environment, yes, you must have personal convictions of how you should act, you should react to things, you know. So I mean, it wasn't the best of jobs. I didn't have the best of bosses, but I made the best of it, is what I'm saying. I left and I started to work with children, informally, really. I had a friend that was a teacher at the time, a guy, my very good friend, Bayo Lufonda. He so introduced me to a school that he was working with, and there were kids there that needed extra help, and since I left the job and I didn't have one, so I took on that and I started to work with, kids, just trying to help them with the difficulty that we're having in school. And that was that was my introduction to teaching, really. And that was where it started from. And from there, the next teaching job I had was actually one that I volunteered for. I had a friend that was working at the excuse me, American International School, and she told me that they sometimes would need teachers because some teachers would not come in. They would fall short of teachers, in at school. So I walked in there and I volunteered. I said to the head teacher at the time, I would like to come in and just and work. And they said, okay, why not? And after 2 weeks, they offered me a position in the school. So that was the first place I was working in that had, kind of like a structure. But even in that place, I didn't, it was required that every teacher, if you were to be a teacher in the American International School here, you had to have an American teaching certificate to be a class teacher. And since I didn't have that, I just had a degree from a Nigerian university. I was an assistant teacher. So after being there for a while, I moved on to another school, St. Xavier's School, and then I started to come across a lot of children that I wasn't able to help. I started to see more and more kids that I would do everything that I knew how to as a teacher, but I knew that I wasn't making headway. And I found it quite a bit frustrating, so I started to search, so that is the, so this is where the lattice comes in, Olayinka, isn't it? You're trying to get, you're in a profession, you're climbing up, but at the same time, you need to gather, you need to sort of get things from different places, like to get your work done properly so you can get up that ladder. So it is kind of intertwined, really, for me. Yes. So I had to, and that was how my search started. And I said, okay, so what's out there? How do you work with kids that have learning difficulty? How do you do this? And that was how I stumbled on applied behavior analysis. I actually just stumbled on it. And I said, oh, wow, how do I get trained in this? I can't leave work because I can't leave work to go to another country to get the training. So, and as God would have it, that was how I met my supervisor online. I just saw his company, International Training Center for Applied Behavior Analysis, Dr. Edward Asikia, one of the pioneers of ABA in Nigeria, actually, an amazing man. So that was how I stumbled upon his establishment, and I, reached out to them and I got my training. I did the coursework because there is a coursework, for that you have to do first before you do the board certified exam. Now, so I had to do the coursework, completed the coursework, and then did the board exams, passed, and then got that certification. So you see, in building a career, I think that the most important thing is to actually first know yourself as a person. I mean, it's not as simple as I put it. That's a very difficult thing to do, to know yourself. You need to pay a lot of attention to what comes to you, to your natural aptitudes. Yes. And know your work environment. I can't emphasize that enough. A lot of women do not pay attention to their work environment, to what is going on there, the benefits, the opportunities that are available in their work environment, and to sit down and actually analyze, to analyze and say, okay, so this is where I am today. In 5 years, this is where I want to be, and find out how they can actually get there. Who has actually started from where I am? Because, I had to do that kind of thing in my work. I mean, with my supervisor now, because he's still my supervisor, Dr. Ward, I go to him a lot for a lot of things. Like, this is where I am now, and this is where I want to go. You know, so how do I do that? And because of his wealth of experience, he's able to tell me, okay, you know, if you do this course, you know, because there's a course now that he has asked me that I should do. Yes, because there's another area of work that I want to get into, which is an area which if I get certified in that area, then I'll be able to do a lot more than I'm doing now. Because right now, of course, I test, which is in the area of assessment. You know, right now I test children, but what I do is I just do functional and adaptive skills assessment. That is, what that means is I just test children in the area of what can a child do, you know, what are their deficits, you know, so which holes are we plugging in the area of language, in the area of adaptive skills, you know, in the area of academics, what are we plugging in? So those are the sort of assessments that I run. But like psychometric assessments, of course, with a degree in psychology, I can do that now, but you need to get a particular sort of certification, you know, to really thrive in that area, to become recognized is the word I'm looking for. Yes, to become recognized in that line of work. So he's mentioned it to me now. He's brought it to my attention that, you know, Tinola, if you want to move into that way, which is what we really should be doing now in this area in Nigeria, the number of kids are increasing, you know, I'm seeing more and more of them. We need to be testing more. We need to be testing kids earlier. We need to be testing them more. So we need more people tested. So you see now, I have to go into that area. So that is the Lattice Olayinka now, isn't it? I have to get that certification to keep climbing up that ladder, because there still is the ladder. Yeah, there still is a ladder to be climbed. So it all works together. Certification, keep climbing up that ladder, keep building the career, getting, you know, keep, and then of course with all of you know, job satisfaction. Yeah, hope if you're careful enough to make sure that the decisions you're making are not just about the earnings, of course, that you take other things into consideration, because I think that is important. And that's another thing that I would like to say, that, and really when I tell people this, honestly and truly, I've never taken any job based on what is going to pay me. Never is the word. Never. Like, I've never taken a job based on what it's going to pay. I always go into a situation, into a job, you know, anytime I want to do, you know, I always go in finding out what I can do. I always go in finding out, why do you need me? You know, what I'm going to, and I always make sure that what you need me for is what I'm able to do. So I think that's another important aspect of it. So you're trying to move up a ladder or to move from one position to the next, I think an important question to ask is, this position that I seek, this place that I want to go to, why do I want to go there? What benefit, you know, what am I bringing there? What's my relevance there? Because I think that makes a whole lot of difference to your career. You know, it makes a whole lot of difference to it. So I think it's being a bit more deliberate, you know, to be very deliberate in our choices and in just analyzing the jobs that we have, you know, the jobs that we have, the jobs that you're seeking to, the jobs that you're aspiring to, and the positions you're aspiring to rather, and your organization. Do you know your organization? Do you understand it? Do you know what system will work best in your organization? Is the organization, what's the word now? Is organization a ladder, career path organization? Are you aware of what's happening in your organization? Do you understand its structure, its system, its culture? You know, we must have that understanding, so you know how to go about it. You will know how to do the dance, you know, between the ladder career path and the lattice career path. You know how to do the dance and bring it all together to work for you, you know. So yes, so that's basically my story, how I got to the point where I am now, you know, practicing as a behavioral analyst. It's a great field. I know it's not really it's not very well known in the United Kingdom, but in America, ABA is the gold standard for the treatment and management of autism. You know, and in the 4 years or so now that I've worked in this field, you know, it's giving amazing results. And I say to people that it's not just about children who need, it's not just about children with neurodevelopmental disorders. I actually see ABA, applied behavior analysis, as it's a teaching methodology. I say to people that you put any knowledge in ABA and it's easy for you to pass it across to the next person. Really. You know, it's a teaching, it is something that helps you to teach, to carry information, to move information from one person to another. Yeah, and it's great, you know, it's great for me because the field that I'm in gives me the opportunity to do what I love to do, which is work with children and help them more. I'm helping people now. And it also gives me time to spend with family. So I've kind of planned my work around, you know, my life as I have it now. Family, leisure, earning money, contributing actively to the community, to my community, helping, contributing to the body of knowledge, you know. I've taken time and I'm being deliberate about it, you know. So knowing what it is that you want, being deliberate about it, and making sure that you understand the organization or the profession that you find yourself in will help you decide, you know, how to marry the ladder pathway or the lattice pathway, yeah, together. I'm sorry, my eye is not on the time, so I don't know if I overshot. But I think I've said it all. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tinola. So inspiring as always. The amazing work that you're doing in Nigeria is it's just amazing. There's no words. I hear personal stories of, you know, the changes that she's made to children's lives internationally. So it's not just children from Nigeria. People are sending their children from the UK to her. She's not, you know, you've not said about. So, you know, I know a lot of what goes behind the scenes, and she's, you know, can hear her career journey went in all different directions. So thank you so much. Yeah. Please leave your questions in the chat box. We can answer them later at our Q&A session. I'm sure there'll be loads of questions at the end. I'm going to, just for time purposes, hand over to Olayinka, who's going to present our next amazing speaker. Thank you for joining us, Yvonne. So Olayinka, over to you.
Thank you so much, Charlotte, and thank you so much, Tinola, for sharing your experiences with us and your expertise and your passion as well for what you do, because it's not about the financial success that we gain from the career ladder, from where we grow, but also the passion, the impacts that we are making within our role. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. And tonight we have with me a very wonderful person that I have the privilege and honor to have on this platform today. It was a very short notice. I've been the shortest ever, but she managed to navigate around. Just to tell you the power of women, we are absolutely, I don't know where we get the strength from. She's just finished from meetings to meetings, and she's able to be here tonight. There are no other person but Yvonne. I'm going to introduce her before I hand over to her. Yvonne is a Chief Nursing Officer at Medway NHS Foundation. and she's been a nurse for over 24 years, and she's held the director and senior leadership level positions in nursing, quality governance, patient safety, and risk management in acute mental health and commissioning organization in the NHS. She has also worked in the Department of Health and the independent and private healthcare sector. As the Chief Nursing and Quality Officer, Yvonne has board level responsibility for the professional nursing, midwifery, and allied health professional workforce to support the delivery of high quality, compassionate care for all the users. And Yvonne also has wanted to be a nurse, and that's what she wanted to do. So from a young age, she already know where she is going. She has a goal in mind. So she has always wanted to be a nurse since she was 7 years old. And the scientists have said something about that age, isn't it? As a 7-year-old person, they already have that mentality of what they want to do as well. So that is very great. And she's passionate about patient safety and experience, organizational culture as well, and staff development. I know this because from my conversation with Yvonne just the other day, I was able to grasp that she is very passionate about people development. She's very passionate about her staff development and well-being. Yvonne lives happily with her family in Kent, and she enjoys traveling. So without further ado, allow me to pass over to Yvonne Hunt, and she's going to be sharing her experiences with us tonight. Over to you.
Oh goodness, that is one introduction. So, firstly, apologies for being late. As you can probably see, I'm still at work and I'm yet to go home. So as Olayinka has already introduced, I'm Yvonne Hunt. I'm the Chief Nursing Officer at Medway NHS Foundation Trust. I think in terms of career ladders and career position, as you've said, I've always wanted to be a nurse. I don't think I know how to be anything else. I think probably because my mum's a nurse as well. So I grew up in an environment where it was always about sort of caring for other people other than yourself. And so I remember sort of saying I wanted to be a nurse, and my mom trying to encourage me to be a pharmacist. She felt that nurses didn't have enough respect, but actually, if you're a doctor or you're a pharmacist, you get far more respect. And having that debate and discussion, and almost sort of a bit of a fight, saying I want to do nursing. But then it's one of those things where my mom, being a nurse in the UK, had experienced sort of race and racism within nursing. And so as a result, she didn't want me to go through that. But I was absolutely determined that's what I enjoy, that's what I love, and that's what I wanted to do. And then even being offered a position to do pharmacology and a position to do nursing. And I recall the conversation, her trying to convince me to become a pharmacist. And I remember saying, I hate chemistry. God, who likes chemistry? And saying, well, if I fail, actually, I'm going to blame you. So she then sort of backed off and said, fine, do what you want to do. And I don't regret it at all, because I think it's really important for people to love what they do. Because when you have really down days in that job, the fact that you love what you do is what's going to make you have an up day as well. And so everything I've done throughout the years have very much been around becoming a nurse. So even at secondary school, I lived in, my parents are originally from Sierra Leone, and I lived in Sierra Leone for 5 years. And so everything I've done has been around that nursing path. So I was a health monitorist at secondary school. And so anything to do with health and care and promoting health was actually what I enjoyed, and it's good. And sort of all the subjects I did up to that point very much relating to preparing me for being a nurse. And the whole training around nursing, I'd say a lot of what I learned basically, and that confidence came from my mum. Because I was used to, she had a clinic, and I was used to seeing patients in her clinic, and so you kind of develop that confidence as well. And sort of moving back to the UK after secondary school, it was really around when you did the nurse training, I don't think it's any different now. Nurses are so busy that you get assigned a mentor, and that mentor is so busy that sometimes you don't really get the time that you needed. And I realized very quickly that um, I had to quickly change my style, which was more around, rather than just waiting for my mentor, to spend time with me. I switched it around and became a helper for my mentor. So very quickly, busy nurses knew they could trust me and leave activities for me to do. So and so therefore I developed, I suppose, a lot quicker than others who, when I do recall meeting with some of my peers, and they would complain about, oh, my mentor doesn't have time for me. And I thought, sometimes in life, if you want to do things and you're going through a particular way, if you can't get through it, you have to go under, you have to go around, you have to go on top. So for me, and then I suppose I didn't realize what I was doing. For me, it was just that I desperately needed to have my mentor spend some time with me, and I needed to learn, and quickly realized that me badgering an individual wasn't going to get me what I needed. I needed to find another way of doing it. Having qualified as a nurse, and wanting to develop within the nursing ladder, I changed a number of roles. I always tried to understand what's expected of me. I always went into every role I've been into, thinking, oh, now I'm here, what's my next job going to be? And so I would look at job descriptions of the next role and what the expectations were, and I would offer to do different things for individuals, in the sense of, okay, how do I get exposed to that experience? I could easily well say, that's not my job, it's not in my job description. But actually, you quickly realize that that doesn't get you very far. So for me, going into roles, I understood what was expected of me, and I equally understood, okay, I'm going to stay in this job for no more than 2 years, 3 years, and then I've got to get to the next job to teach me and give me the skill sets that I need in order to get to where I want to get to. So so that kind of really helped. I suppose there's a lot I've had to learn, and I think the conversation with Olayinka over the weekend was very much around my own development, my own style and how I come across, and actually a lot around, and I'm sure it's the same in a number of profession. Sometimes it's not what you know, it's how you apply and how you engage with individuals. So I've had to work a lot on me, my style, and my approach, in order um, to to have an understanding of that, of people skills, really. You get a lot of knocks, and some of those knocks you could easily play victim. I decided to do the complete opposite. When I've had knocks, or don't get me wrong, I have moments when you're knocked, you do feel, you have that sadness, or that negative feeling. You go through it. I've been lucky enough to be supported by sort of family who have believed in me. I'd say my mum is my biggest fan and my biggest supporter and my biggest cheerleader and my biggest everything. And so growing up, it was always my mum, and now my husband and my kids are the ones that really helped me through a down day. I can go home, I could have that conversation with them, and actually, you kind of need that network around you in order to support you, because you are going to have down days, and that's okay. But it's around, who do you have within your network that's able to support you when you have those moments. So in terms of that career ladder, goodness, there's been lots of knocks. And so, you go for interviews, either your face doesn't fit, or your name doesn't fit, or something else or another doesn't fit. And I remember, it must have been probably about 10 years ago, my husband saying to me, well, okay, you're getting very frustrated with wanting to progress, and it's not happening. You could do a few things. You could play victim. You could become very angry, and actually that anger only affects you, or you could do something else different. So, and I don't know if I'm sure a lot of you would be aware, African parents, it's all about that degree, it's all about that diploma, it's all about that master's, and then by the time you finish the master's, it's the PhD. And so there's a real emphasis on acquiring degrees and masters, etc. But actually, when you think about it, and what I've learned over the years, that masters or that degree helps you in terms of entry into a position. But when you get there, your degree and your masters and all the rest of it is about you and how it's helped you to get to where you are. Um, what it doesn't do is those sort of interpersonal and interrelation skills, which are incredibly key. So it's not about what you know, it's about how you apply what you know and how you get people to come along with you. So I quickly realized, I had a really significant incident happen to me, and I was really unhappy and really sad. And my husband saying, again, you could be done onto, or you could be, get over it and find a way of dealing with that situation. And that was quite a significant conversation, actually, because you don't realize sometimes you come across different people and you have different conversations with them, and it makes a lot of difference. Actually, sometimes it's just a word. Nobody knows what you're going through, and it's just a word that they'll say to you, and it can make a lot of difference to you. And so spending that time on me, one of the things Sean said to me, my husband's called Sean, he said, I know you, and you're very happy-go-lucky, you're a very kind person, and at home you behave as if you've got trainers on. But when you go into work, I turned into this person that I perceived I should be at senior level. And looking at some of the role models that were there. And then what that did was really, it turned me into this person that said, well, I've got a master's or I've got a degree. And quite frankly, people don't care if you've got a master's, if you've got a degree. They care more about how you engage with them and how you make them feel when they encounter you. And so he would say to me, do you banter at work? I said, who banters? Nobody banters at work. And so I had to learn how to banter, because I didn't realize I didn't know how to banter. And actually what that did was to help me in terms of how I interact with people, and my how I came across. I then became very reflective. I'm still a reflective person. I do think about how I come across in terms of how that person that I'm talking to encounters me. And so, how can I support that particular person as well? And so that reflection sort of made me change my style. Instead of the attitude person with I've got a degree, and I've got 2 masters, I changed my style to one of kindness, very much around compassionate leadership. And sort of through the years, it's made me comfortable in my skin and where I am, to the point where I feel comfortable and confident to be able to support other people who are up and coming. I'm a firm believer that somebody helped me along the way, and so there's something around me how I help other people as well. And a lot of it would be around, that confidence that you give somebody, that how you make that person actually feel, and they will remember how you make them feel when you have that encounter with them. So over the years, my style has changed a lot. I'm a happy-go-lucky person, and I actually bring me to work. And even in my work environment, I get a lot of nurses say, "Oh my God, you're so happy. You're such a bouncy person. Are you sure you're the director level person?" I said, "I am." But you're not strict. I don't need to be, because actually that strictness, that sort of it doesn't win friends. It doesn't help me get the best out of people. And I've learned by getting the best out of people actually helps me deliver and succeed in my role. So it's not just about me. So I shifted it to, from me to very much around, okay, how do I get the best out of people? And just by talking to individuals, being very supportive and being able to get them to where they want to get to, you build a lot of people along the way. So sometimes I find people get into senior positions and they pull the ladder up. And actually, for me, there's something about, how do I support others to get the best out of themselves, because I feel comfortable in my own skin. So I'm not sure if that's what you wanted to hear, but I thought I'll just very quickly give you a sort of quick summary about, me and my journey, which is not over yet. But I've just got to a role and an organisation where actually the team I work in are absolutely fantastic. They're nothing but supportive, and I'd say for the second time in my career, I've landed in a role where it's brilliant. I can be Yvonne. I can be as loud as I want. I can be as quiet as I want. And actually, when I'm not in the office, people go, "Oh, it's very quiet," because they accept that I laugh very loudly and I joke, and it's okay, and I can be me completely. I'll stop there and see if anybody wants to ask anything specific.
Wow, wow. Thank you so much, Yvonne. That has been such a wonderful session, very impactful. I've been writing notes. I don't know if anyone else has been doing that. Thank you so much. I'm sure everyone will agree with me that has been a wonderful session. Even though you don't have any slides, yeah, and it's a very short notice, you've been able to share your story with us. And I'm sure most of us on this platform, we can relate with the stories, with the degrees, with the discrimination that is going on, but what we choose to do with our lemonades. So we're going to our question and answer session for about 10 to 15 minutes. So please, if you do have any question, type in your question now. It is an opportunity for you to ask questions, to ask Yvonne questions, to ask Dina questions about what you might have on career, how you can, climb the career ladder, what you need to put in place, what are the things that you need to do, maybe some of the things that they didn't mention earlier that you're wondering, okay, but mine is not like that. What can I do? Please unmute yourself or type in your question now in the chat. It's time for Q&A.
Sorry, I was trying to unmute myself. Thank you to both speakers. Thank you, Yvonne. It was amazing. You are an inspiration. And I know personally I've benefited from some wonderful advice and feedback. So thank you. So look, don't lose this opportunity. I'd love to see your beautiful faces. Please do switch on your cameras. Please be aware that we are recording the session today, and it will go on our YouTube channel, but it will be lovely for those of you who are feeling comfortable. Don't worry, we're not worrying if you've got makeup on or anything. We want to see you. Don't be afraid. Use this opportunity to ask questions. We have wonderful speakers. As you can see, look, Yvonne's still at work, and she's Tinawala is here all the way from Nigeria. So please, can we share the YouTube channel? Yes, definitely, we'll share that, and we'll share our webpage. I've put it earlier on in the chat. Olayinka, if you can put the YouTube channel in the chat as well. Who has a question? Who's going to be brave enough to ask the first question?
You can hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Tina. Welcome.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, I put my camera off because my face, oh my God, I'm too tired.
Oh dear. Okay. I'll let please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just thinking maybe I can recognize some names that I think they might have the question in mind to ask. Is there any particular thing to put in place, like you want to start a career what is the first stage? Like, is there any first stage, second stage? What do you think people can put in place or have, to kick off a career?
Okay, Tinu, do you want to go first, and then Yvonne?
Yes, I think I would say the first thing is to actually identify, excuse me, what it is that you want to do. To identify and in identifying what it is you want to do, sometimes it's not so simple. I mean, it's simple to say, check with your aptitude, the things you can do naturally. That is important. But there are also lots of other things to consider, because we're at different stages in life when we want to start something. So what stage in life are you at? And what is important to you at that stage in life, and what do you want to do? Yes, what do you want to do? Now, when you know what it is you want to do, sometimes you may not know, and sometimes it happens that you may not know what it is that you want to do. But so I say to people, like in my case, I didn't know. I just took a job. You just do something sometimes. You just it's like a leap of faith. What is available to do? Just do it. You do it, you don't like it, it's not a prison. You step out. You've learned something. Yes? So if you're in the position where you don't even know what it is you want to do, what is available to do, think about that, and just do something. Do something and see if you like it. If you don't, step back. If you do like it, now begin to say, okay, I like this. What is the progression in this line of work? What do I need to do for myself? What do I need to do? What do I need to do for myself? What are the things I need to put in place? And that is where you begin to now analyze what it is that you want to go into. Okay, so what do I need? What is important for me? It's like cooking a soup. So what is important for me to get this soup cooked? What are the ingredients for making this soup really superb? And then you now begin to shop for those ingredients. Sometimes it could just be, in my case, it was a volunteer in a school to say to people, oh, I volunteered in this school, or I did this diploma, or sometimes it could be that. Sometimes it could even just be a life experience, just the knowledge you've had coming through life, so you need to just analyze, just look at it and say, what do I want to do? If you don't know what it is you want to do, what is available to do, just do something. You like it, you stick to it. You don't, you do something else. Yes.
Amazing. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks, Tinu. Yvonne, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think Tinola has really touched on some really key points. So, I think some people don't know what they want to be doing, and that's okay. Different people, yes, I mean, I was 7, I knew what I wanted to do, but then everybody's different. You do have some individuals where something impactful can happen in their lives, and that changes the course of career. So we've seen, through the pandemic happening, a number of people wanting to give back to the community and wanting to do, something in health. And so we've seen, following the pandemic, a real increase in people wanting to come into care, so which is good. I've got friends who have done finance, and they're very good at their finance job, but not feeling fulfilled, and giving up that finance role and coming in to do something else which they feel floats their boat. So I think there is something around what is it you enjoy. If you've got the opportunity to have to reflect and think about what it is you enjoy, what it is you think you're good at, what it is you think you need that support with. There's also career advisors. Sometimes people don't know what they want to do, and by having that conversation with a career advisor, they would help you to unpick and identify what it is you want to do. You have some individuals who tends to find themselves in a role and then realize they're very good at that role, and that makes a lot of difference. So I think Taneo picked up on a number of the key points around, what is it you enjoy? I would say have a conversation with a career advisor. You can also equally talk to a mentor or a coach to help you really unpick what it is you enjoy. If you're not if you're doing a job at the moment, yes, you're getting paid, but maybe you might not feel fulfilled. I think that's where having a coach and a mentor will be able to help you to identify what you could move on to. And a lot of things these days, you can lift and shift your skills. Some roles, it's about how you articulate your transferable skills, and actually you can easily make that step from what you're doing now to doing something different.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Yvonne. Really, really great. Good advice. Choma, do you want to go? I see you had your hand up first. Please
yeah.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, speakers, for your wonderful presentations. It was very lovely to hear your thoughts and your perspectives. I wanted to ask you, Tanala, by the way, I love your middle name. It's very dear to me. How is it? How was it in Nigeria, living in such a patriotic society? How is it navigating the politics of dealing with men who possibly in a higher power than you? How did you navigate through there to build your career, your successful career? And to you, Yvonne, I know you touched a little bit on race as well, but how did you navigate through those channels, and what kind of experiences or tips or advice would you give?
Thank you, Choma. Thank you. As I shared, that was a very short career though. Very short period of time that I did that work, But what I found out worked for me in that situation when I did the sales and marketing in Nigeria was that I knew what it was that I was selling. I knew the product that I was selling. It was a service. I believed in the product that I was selling, and I kind of just maintained a professional faith when I took that product to the organizations that I went to sell it. And I think that was what worked mostly, to what way the advances, as it were. That worked to what way the advances, because of course they would sometimes I would encounter them, but of course there are some people who will not back off. Yes, they're terrible, they're people who would simply not back off, no matter how many times you say no, no matter how intelligent you sound or how much you know what you're doing. You would encounter people like that. But then again, I say, it's not a do or die affair. You just know what it is you stand for and know where to say, you know what, that's it. I'm not going to put myself on the slab to sell anything. And you move on, because there always, the thing is, there always other opportunities, no matter how much anyone makes you feel like, oh, if you don't do this will never happen. That is such a big lie. It will happen in other areas and happen so much easier. But I say to you, just know what it is that you are about. Know what it is that you're about. If you're selling a product, you're delivering a service, you're professional about it. Know what it is that you're selling. And focus on that and do it. And of course, like Yvonne said, don't pay attention to interpersonal, your interpersonal skills, your relationships with people, and always also know, I tell people, always also know straight off that people's behaviors are usually functioning for something. And it's usually functioning for something that you just always know. People's behavior is always functioning for something, and try and just find. Sometimes it's just that the person needs attention. Sometimes it's just that the person just needs attention, and you say, "Oh wow, lovely tie," You just flip it around, So always know that people's behaviors are functioning for something. Try and work out. It's difficult, but in the space of spending a moment with them, try and work out what their behaviors are functioning for, that you consider to be socially unacceptable to you, and try and lead them to, not feed it, try and help them well, indirectly do something that actually satisfies that that need, or whatever is functioning for, without having to to give yourself a lot of hassle. Choma, I hope I've answered your question, because sometimes I can just talk on and on about something.
No,
Yeah, I hope I've
thank
answered
you.
your question.
Yes.
I mean, the important thing is just to know what it is that you have on this. Don't think that if it doesn't happen, it's never going to happen. It is going to happen. Don't let anybody hold anything over your head, like hold you to ransom and say, oh, if you don't do this. No. I mean, it will happen. It will happen in other situations. You will get that thing with other people. It doesn't have to be that person. So if it becomes a do or die thing, stand for what you believe in. Yes, stand for what you believe in. But be professional in your job, especially if you have to interface with a lot of men. Yes.
Thank you.
If Yvonne, do you want to answer?
So I suppose the ask was around, I guess, race and racism, and what are the tips. So starting off within the NHS, and understanding that others were being offered roles, but I wasn't. There've been sort of different types of scenario. I think I recall I've been lucky enough to encounter different types of people, to be honest. I recall when I was a newly qualified nurse, applying for a role at Chelsea and Westminster Hospital. By then, your grading salary was based on letters. So when you're a newly qualified nurse, you're a D grade, and then you move up when you get experience to an E grade, etc., and you go higher up. And I remember applying for a job as a D grade at Chelsea and Westminster Hospital, and the ward manager phoning me and saying, "Thank you for coming to the interview. Unfortunately, you were unsuccessful for the D grade job. But," I was thinking, oh, there's a but. "But what I'd like to do is to offer you an E grade." And I went, "No, hold on a second, but I applied for a D grade." And she said, "Yes, but I've seen something in you, and I think you are somebody who's got potential. And actually, from your interview, you are an E grade material." I still remember that to this day, and that ward manager's called Rosetta Jacobs. And for somebody to have done that for me, that was my first encounter in terms of what it means to nurture, coach, and support other people. But there've also been times when I've had to stand up to bosses who have said to me, I remember a boss sort of saying to me that in their world, it's people who are Asians first, then people who are white, and then people who are black. And women were second-class citizen, and nurses were not as bright as doctors. And then working for this individual as a black woman and a nurse, what I did was to fight. I did fight back. I spent a long period fighting back, and then only to realize actually I was hurting me. And actually, don't get me wrong, going through that traumatic situation, fighting back was what I felt I needed to do, and I had to fight back. But actually, I find there are other ways to fight, definitely through using the HR route. Working in the NHS is quite significant. And now I reflect on it, as I said, and I reflect on how I came across. And actually, I've learned now to fight in a different way. I fight through educating other people. I fight through using my experience, and letting others know what an alternative way for how to deal with it. I spent many years being angry, and actually that anger just it ate me up, nobody else. It actually ate me up, and it stopped me having the opportunity to look at alternative ways to deal with situation. And there've been some really good people advising me, and I wouldn't listen to their advice because I was so angry. So a good tip was around dealing with that anger, because that anger will eat you up, and actually it would prevent you from using your experience in a positive way, to make change. So I decided to change my tact in terms of I used that frustration, that anger, in educating other people. And that helped me a lot. It helped me to deal with the anger, and also using my experience of some of the racism that I have encountered and have experienced. Um, it was about educating other people to change some of their views, um, as well. And actually, a lot of it is around sometimes some of the stereotypes that are labeled on individuals. It's about saying that actually I'm not that stereotype. I'm Yvonne. I'm an individual. So in terms of racism, I think I've become much smarter in dealing with racism. I've become somebody who does a lot of educating and a lot of talking about using a different way to make change. And as I said, being that reflective person, being able to look at me and my style and how I came across and how other people encountered me. My mannerism, my approach used to be very sort of in your face, shouty. And actually, when you have that respect and regard for different people's cultures and different people's style, it does help you to tailor how you come across as well. Coming from a Sierra Leonean family, I always say to people, if you meet all of my aunties and my mum and everybody in one room, you'd think we're having a massive row, but actually we're just having a robust conversation, which is not argumentative, but it's just the culture. But then when you put that culture within the British culture, it's the Brits are very quiet, very reserved, and so therefore that sort of loud, shouty Sierra Leonean way. When people get to know you, you're able to completely bring that style. So I think I'd say more so in the last sort of 4 years in my probably 6 to 4 years, 6 years, I've decided to know my worth, and I vote with my feet. I don't go anywhere where I'm not appreciated. And actually I know my own worth, and I know in terms of where I am that actually I can go somewhere else and get a job somewhere else and I'd be appreciated by somebody else. There's that saying, one man's meat is another man's poison. So I've learned to vote with my feet, and actually when I go into a work environment, I use my experience to be able to facilitate change and improvement. There are some work environments where you would be able to do that, and there are other work environments that you just know you don't want to be in that environment, really. And so I voted with my feet. I'm a qualified nurse, and I've mastered my trade, and I enjoy what I do, and I love what I do. And actually anybody would be happy to have me in their organization, because I'd add value to their organization. And it's taken me a while to get to that place of knowing that. So where I don't believe I'm being treated the way I want to be treated or feel I should be treated, and it's a two-way street, by the way, it's how you are treating other people as well, I vote with my feet, and I've left.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm
amazing.
not sure if that answered your question, Trauma, hopefully.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And I think, Yvonne, there's something similar in the chat bar, but I think you've, Linda, I think that kind of, sorry, Comfort, I do know you got your hand up, but there's something, a similar question in the chat. And I think it's been answered in what you have just said there, around navigating amongst white colleagues. And yeah, so you have Linda's thumbs up. Yeah, so you've answered that question. I'm just gonna go. So Comfort, you had disappeared. Comfort, you had your hand up. Do you still want to?
Yes, I do. I just put it down because I realized that you'd acknowledged that I was there, so that's why.
Okay, go ahead and ask your question, please.
Okay, so good evening to you, everybody here, and good evening to the three speakers. So what I I think Yvonne and both Tinola both touched on this. So let me use an example. So imagine I wanted to be, I don't know, Yvonne's position or Tinola's position, and I know what it is. I know where my goal is. I know the steps that I need to take. So in regards to things like the additional qualifications that I may need to acquire, I'm aware of the type of work experience that I need to bring into that role. I have read, the various job descriptions, like I think I wasn't sure whether it was Yvonne that mentioned it, about reading job description for the role that you want and volunteering yourself, putting yourself forward, ensuring that you acquire those skills. What I wanted to find out was roughly how long do you think you should remain, kind of in each post in order to get there? So I'm thinking, like, as an employer, when you're recruiting, how long would you say you feel that somebody should be in a particular post that you feel that, okay, this person's, acquired enough skills, experience, so that you don't look as if to say, you're just hopping around from one job to the next, but also, you don't want to remain stagnant in one particular position. I hope you understand what I'm asking.
Mm-hmm.
If you can answer, please. Thank you.
Okay. Would you like me to, I think you're on mute. Would you like me to answer? Okay.
Yes, but both speakers, please.
Okay. All right. So in terms of if I think about me getting to where I got to. So I always felt that it was always about, I have to have more degrees, I have to have more masters, and I have to learn more of the skills. And I think over the years I neglected the networking, the interpersonal skills, and part of also getting a coach. And what that coach and mentor does for you is it's not just about listening to you talk about whatever it is you're talking about. They also equally expose you to their network as well. And part of you being exposed to their network, sometimes it offers opportunity, because when vacancies become available, you can have individuals. So I'm happy for you to come over on secondment. I'm happy for you to come over on interim. So I think sometimes we do tend to think about development in that rigid way of, I've got to have done 2 years here, I've got to have done 5 years here, I've got to have done 10 years here. And I suppose I've not done it in that way with my career. My approach has been, I knew I wanted to be a board member. And what's interesting, I spent years trying to sound like what I thought board members had to sound like, and I didn't sound like me. And I fought really hard against that. So I was lucky enough. I mean, working for the NHS. The NHS is fantastic, absolutely fantastic, in that you've got leadership development programs, you've got mentorship programs, coaching programs, and so I was lucky enough to have gone on some of these programs and having a coach and having a mentor who exposed me to their network. And through that I was able to quickly learn that it is not just about your degrees, your diplomas, and all of that, and actually what it's around that, as I've said sort of before, your interpersonal, your interrelation skills, in terms of how you. So sometimes people are looking to say, will this person fit into my organization? Will this person fit into my team, despite everything that you know? So if you think about the culture within the organization or the culture within the team you're going to be working in, individuals are also equally not just looking at what you know, they're looking at whether you will fit into that culture, whether you will fit into that team, and whether you've got the right personality and the right style in order to take the organization, sort of where it needs to get to. Yeah. So that's quite significant. So because your style might end up disrupting a team. So they're really, really, for me, and that's some of what I've learned over the years. You know, my boss here said, or he's now left. My old boss said, Yvonne, you're an exec first and then you're chief nurse second. Actually, that's quite significant. So it's about the team. So these are some of the smaller things that, you know, the numbers of years you may have done in a particular environment you might not get. So it might be that if you see an opportunity come along, I've not done 10 years here, 15 years here, 5 years here. Sometimes I've just done 18 months and I feel like, oh, actually, I think I can do that role. And I would apply and I'll be coached and I'll go for the interview and I'm able to articulate why I've done that jump. So if you look at my LinkedIn page, you would see that I've not stayed anywhere longer than 3 years. But the role that I'm in, now that's the role I want to stay in for another 3 to 5 years, another sort of 6, 7, 8 years, because actually it's a transformation piece, and to realize that transformation, you know, you have to give it that time. But the key thing for me is around that the networking, how you use and access the networks, how you have access to mentors and coach, and also how you're able to, the narrative you're able to provide as to why you've moved on. So again, if you look at it, all of my roles, I've always gone up rather than sideways. So it's, I leave this job, I go to the next job and it's a higher job, I go to the next one, it's a higher job. And it's being able to articulate that and how your skill sets from what you're doing now can be transferable, can be easily transferable to the job that you're proposing that you want to do. Some of it sometimes can be a confidence thing. And I think sometimes, you know, people feel they have to do another course and another course and another course, and they have to be 10 years in this job before they get to where they want to get to. But I think by having that coach and having mentors, and you know, you've got that sort of you've got that desire for wanting to succeed, you know, all of those what you might call softer skill set makes a lot of difference. So I hope that answers your question.
Is it Comfort who asked the last question? Comfort, is that?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. So some amazing questions and some amazing answers. Thank you to our speakers. I am just going to pass over to Olayinka for our announcements for upcoming exciting events. So just hang on for a little bit longer. Olayinka, you ready to do the announcements?
So I am ready to do the announcement. But before I do that, I would like to say thank you to Yvonne and also to Tiniola. It's been a wonderful session. Whenever we have our Black Women Empowerment series, it always look like, you know, we don't always want it to end. But we'll also be back next month because it's a monthly series that we have to encourage, to empower, and to support one another. And from a conversation with Yvonne the other day, what she said about staff development, developing ourselves and fighting in another way, she sort of, was able to break it down in another perspective, which I also believe in, that, there are different ways to fight. And sometimes when we're fighting, we are hurting ourselves, but other ways, we can develop ourselves. That's another way to fight. And developing ourselves does not mean that we need to acquire more degrees. It doesn't mean we need to do more qualification. It might mean just to be more confident in ourselves, understanding our values, understanding what we bring to the table, being more confident. So understanding our values is very important. And but also, I think one of the ladies asked a question. I think it was Tina that asked a question, that how can to start a career, and we've all answered it beautifully well. But also, in as much as you're taking up any job, also have your goal in mind. Because sometimes we take up jobs, and because of the salary we're not earning, we tend to forget our goals. We tend to forget our destination. So even though you're taking up any job, have your goal in mind, have your vision in sight. So there's something that I do. I call it VIP. It's a vision inspired plan. So I understand my vision and I walk up, and so from my vision, I walk it down. So from the ladder, I walk it up the way down, trying to understand what I need to put in place in order for me to get to my destination, to get to my vision. And we're all in a journey. So thank you all so much It's been such a wonderful night. I've gained myself. So just want to announce our upcoming events. This is for business owners. So people that are working within Black Women in Care, Black Women in Care, that have a business directors. So we are inviting Tricia. Tricia is a skillful care operations manager. She's coming to speak to us about the workforce development funds on how we can. It's also about staff development. It's about developing our staffs on how we can, how we can support our staff, to grow in the career ladder, to grow within the organization. They also need skills to be able to support the service users. So Tricia is coming here on the 22nd. That is next week, Wednesday at 7 p.m. same time as well. And June 29th, Chala put some information on the chat regarding our mentoring. So we are starting our mentoring very soon. And on the 29th of June, we have like an open day mentoring. We are inviting some of our mentors. Shala and I will be there to discuss with us on the benefits of having a mentor. And Yvonne mentioned it, that even though our mentor was busy, but you have someone that is guiding you and sharing their experiences with you, because your mentor, they're not sort of like a coach, so you can't expect them to do everything for you. But what they do is they share their experiences, but also you need to have your own career map in mind. Remember career mapping that I mentioned. Have your own self-assessment. Self-assessment is very important. And also award nominations will be open on the 1st of July. The 1st of July will be opening up on our award nominations. So if you have anyone that you want to nominate, it's an executive that have been good, a manager that you have, a colleague that you believe that deserve an award this year, they've been working so hard, please do nominate them on our website. And our conference and awards is in November, so more information soon. So you can register for a free account on our website, www.blackwomeninCare.com, or email us info@blackwomeninCare.com. That is the announcement for now. So whilst doing that, I will also do closing remarks. We're so grateful that you've joined us today, all the way from Nigeria, and we're also so grateful that you've been able to join us, Yvonne, out of your busy schedule today. I know it's been really tight, but you've been able to join us, and it's because of our community growth. Our community needs to grow, and we are doing our own bits and pieces here and there. So, and I have this belief. Our vision. What is our vision, Charlotte? If you know, is 10,000 Black women that are working within health and social care by 2025. We want to be able to develop 10,000 Black women in care, and working within care, having the opportunities, sharing opportunities with them, being able to develop themselves personally, professionally, business development as well. We want to encourage and develop ourselves. So yes, I'm sure if we call on you again, please answer our call. We'll be so delighted to have you back on this platform. So thank you so much for coming. As I'm going to thank
also,
you.
People can join. Membership is free. Go on to the Black Women in Care website and sign up while it's still free, to get newsletters and other info.
Yes, so you can have your free account